going, deep dive sports fans? It's David. I am here with Dom today, and today we got an episode of On Deck. So it's been a minute since we've posted anything new. Of a lot of things have happened. Main thing that has happened has been the trade deadline and a couple other things as well. So I just
What are those other things, David?
got the All-Star game, which I'm not going to talk about because it's kind of irrelevant at this point. And a few other things that we'll get to in a minute. Anyway, so I'm going to start with the trade deadline. So I got a couple questions for you, Dom, and I'll answer
Okay.
them as well as the best of my ability. First, what are your overall thoughts on the trade deadline? What is your favorite trade slash winner? What is your least favorite trade slash loser? And what are your thoughts on the Guardians trading Shane Bieber to Toronto and Paul Sewald to Detroit?
Um, I think my overall winner, I have two of them because I think there's a lot of teams that did really well at the deadline. I
Mhm.
really like what the Phillies did. I think any flaw that they had on their roster, they filled it, getting depth in the bullpen,
Mhm.
adding depth at the outfield. They are all in, and they're ready to make a playoff run and probably a deep run at that.
Yeah.
Um,
They got Duran from the Twins, right? The
yeah,
closer.
yep. Yeah, I think that's going to be massive for them because their
Mm,
offense was always good.
mm,
Um, but they needed back end of the bullpen help, and man, did they address it.
mm.
I think that is a scary team for the rest of the season, and I'm kind of excited to see how far they go. Other than that, the other winner for me, I really like what the A's did. Um, the fact that they were able to, I think, fleece the Padres and get what the number five, number four overall prospect in baseball, um, for a closer that's having a great year, but maybe injury prone. And they're not competing this year, but this core that they have, that is a great young core.
Hmm.
And you add one of baseball's top prospects on top of that, that's probably going to be MLB ready for when they make the move over to Oakland.
You mean
Once
Las
they make
Vegas?
that move over to Vegas, once they make that move, that's going to be a very exciting team to watch.
Mm.
So
Maybe guys
I
are about to see that stadium when it's
yeah,
completed, obviously.
yeah, yeah. I mean, those are my two winners for different reasons. Obviously, the Phillies going to win now. A's being smart about not competing this year and building for the future. Losers.
Mm.
I mean, is it anybody else but the Twins? Twins
Yeah.
and the Padres. I the Twins and the Padres are my losers. One, the Padres, they took arguably the worst farm system in baseball and made it somehow even worse by trading the one good prospect that they had. Um, that is a GM fighting for his future, man.
Hmm.
That's when he knows, okay, I probably won't be around to see this kid make the big leagues. Let me go in now to try to save my job.
Yeah.
Um, and the Twins, I think they came to the realization that they spent big over the last couple years, signing Correa, signing some other guys, hasn't really paid off for them. And
Because they absolutely cleared house. That was going to be
they
my
it was like
biggest loser as well.
yeah, it was what 38% of their roster they traded away.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, they are, in my opinion, clearly the biggest loser.
Hmm. And that was going to be my biggest loser for me as well. And for my winner that I had, I'd had to say the Seattle Mariners for that. Because not only did they get Josh Naylor, who is having actually a very good season so far, but they also got Ahu, wow, Suarez. They call him
Eugenio Suarez.
yeah, Eugenio Suarez, but they call him Gino in Seattle as well, as I've
Yeah,
come to find out, because I actually went to a game there as well, because
which
Dom and
we
I
will
were.
be hearing about shortly.
True, I'll get to that later. And what, you got dinner there now?
No, maybe. Homeboy got to eat.
Fair. I had a late lunch, so I'm not eating anything right at the moment. But yeah, at the same time, I feel kind of bad for Twins fans
Do
because
you?
a little bit, because you had a overall pretty decent team that, especially a playoff team there in Minnesota, and then they just cleared house for, and it's like you want to support this team, but when they clear house, it's extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
And I'll let you move on to the last question that I had regarding the trade deadline.
I one forgot Paul Seabold was on the Guardians. He
Mm,
has pitched since what, April or May? Um,
true.
yeah, completely forgot he was on the roster. So the fact that they, gave him away for a player to be named later, whoopee. Okay, we saved what, like $1 million in salary. Um, Obviously the big one was the Shane Bieber deal.
Hmm.
And I think that is a massive win for the Guardians. One, he was going to be a free agent at the end of the year, anyways. They weren't going to offer him the qualifying offer. They weren't going to re-sign him. That's just not moves that the Guardians do. The qualifying offer would have been like 18 or $19 million for 1 year, and if he left, they would have got draft pick compensation. That wasn't a move that they were going to make because then if he accepts that qualifying offer, well, now you got a player on your team that you wanted to get rid of. Um, so the fact that they were able to trade him for the number five prospect in the Blue Jays system, and we haven't even seen him back in the big leagues yet, coming back from Tommy John,
Mm,
it's a win-win. You save some money now because they were still paying him, what, like $12 million this year.
yeah.
Traded him halfway through the year, so you save $6 million. And then you get a guy that has just ridiculous potential.
Mm,
And going forward, let's say he's big league ready in a couple of years. Look at this rotation, this young rotation that we have now.
mm.
Imagine Gavin Williams in a couple of years, what he's going to be like. Slade Ciccone has been a revelation.
He's been doing excellent.
Um, yeah, and the rest of this rotation has been really good. You throw, you throw another high potential prospect on top of that. I think it's a fantastic move.
Mm,
Overall, I wish the Guardians would have done more at the trade deadline, but
yeah.
you know what? With how they're playing right now, they're 7-3 in their last 10. We're a game out of the wild card now.
Mm.
Maybe they didn't need to make all those extra moves.
But at the same time, and I'll kind of get this to this point in a second, is the absolute haul that they could have gotten for Emmanuel Clase.
Yeah,
Seems
I
like
am not worried about that because, well, he's not really on the team anymore. I mean, he
basically,
is, but
and I kind of want to be the biggest loser for that as well. And speaking of which, um, Manuel Clase and Ortiz are the two players that are now being investigated for alleged sports betting. And so, one, what are your general thoughts on the matter? And two, if both Ortiz, and this is a big if, both Ortiz and Clase are found guilty, uh, the MLB will decide whether to ban them as a result or an extreme suspension. What will the Guardians do for that matter?
Um, well, I mean, they're gonna wait and see what MLB decides.
Mm,
But overall, I think it's disgraceful what they did. It turns out, we have more information now. These
mm,
investigations have been going on for over a year. You know,
really?
they, it, yeah, this wasn't like, hey, we noticed 2 weeks ago you kind of spiked some balls in the dirt. Um, these investigations, it turns out, have been going on, since early last year. So I don't know.
Really?
If it were me,
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. So if it were me, I personally don't have a tolerance for this kind of shit.
Hmm.
So if I were Rob Manfred, I would kind of use him as an example because this is kind of something we've seen really plague college football as well.
Mm,
There's been a couple betting scandals, and you see players in the NFL getting busted all the time for gambling. Um, this isn't something that you want to continue to be a problem. So
mm,
if it were me, I would ban them.
yeah.
Sucks for the Guardians, but
Mm,
you can't have any tolerance for this. And if they aren't banned and it's extreme suspension, I would very seriously look at just cutting them
yeah. That was my
because
main thing as
you
well.
you don't you don't want to have them in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And they're already not. Their lockers are completely cleared out of the clubhouse now.
Mm,
So they're done for at least this year,
mm.
probably longer.
Yeah, and I do agree that if they are found guilty, to just straight up ban them. Um, I don't know what the Guardians will do, because their plan A kind of got ruined almost. Because from the
Yeah.
sounds of it, they were going to, he was the number one prize for them to trade away. And this happened, what, 2 weeks? Like a week maybe before the trade deadline was supposed to occur.
Yeah.
And just to see, um, oh, who was it that got traded that they got an absolute haul um, for the closer? Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts.
Oh, it was
Was it the
the A's
Padres?
closer.
Huh?
Yeah, it was the A's closer. The deal with their Padres.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like, what if we could have done that trade and gotten that in return?
Hmm.
That's the biggest thing that upsets me the most. Is like we could have gotten so much, and you could probably have thrown Bieber into that trade as well and gotten even more for it.
Mm. I would have done separate trades because the Padres have no farm system in the first place.
True.
So yeah, we could have got one elite level prospect, but
Mm,
they didn't have enough in their system to do multiple deals.
mm. So yeah, and I completely agree. It's like you're gonna ban them from the MLB for a while. Like they're not in their lifetime be back. And I even tweeted this out um when it initially happened on our Twitter page. I was like, if this was before I even found out from you that this investigation had gone like long before uh like the announcement had happened. I was like, if true, it makes me wonder how far back this goes to go from the best closer last season to looking like he's never pitched before during the postseason. Now he's struggling to some degree,
Right.
and that's
Which I mean, I think he was due for a pullback because he was historically good last year.
mm,
So for anyone to think that he would be historically good again, I think you were getting a little ahead of yourself.
hmm
Um, but he got off to such a bad start this year. Like his ERA in April was what, 9?
something like
or
that.
something crazy like that. You know, I don't know. I was concerned,
Yeah. And that kind of
but
that makes me wonder how the New York series could have looked. Like, could we have actually won that series if he was actually what he had shown during the regular season, or if he wasn't allegedly betting during the postseason? If it comes to that.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he wouldn't
Mm,
blow a playoff series.
mm,
But I don't know. I
exactly.
wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him.
Hmm. So I don't know what the Guardians will do at the end of the day. So in terms of how they're going to replace him well into the future, I mean, when it comes to Ortiz, starting pitching isn't really my concern because they can
Yeah.
replace the starting pitcher. That's what the Guardians are known for is pitching in the minors, in the minor leagues.
Well, yes, but that well is even starting to run dry, which is another reason why I'm so happy we got who we did in the Shane Bieber deal.
True. Hmm. And then kind of to tail off of that, um, what can and it's kind of like the final topic that I have here to bring up. What can the MLB do to make smaller market teams a little bit more competitive? The reason I'm bringing this up is because there was a story where Bryce Harper cussed out Rob Manfred over a possible salary cap. And
Yeah, well,
I heard the story that they did kind of like shake hands kind of at the end of the night. Not to mention in an episode that had occurred 2 months ago now, because I think this was in June, and this was kind of like the unscripted episode that you and Nick had done, but it was just me and Nick that night because I forget why you weren't able to record. Um, this was a topic that Nick had mentioned in that episode as well. So I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on it.
ugh. David, we could do a five-part series on this, bud. Um,
Well, I would love to hear it. It's kind of why we're here.
I think there's a couple things that they need to do. One, you need a salary cap, but that's never going to happen. The MLB Players Association will never, ever, ever agree to a salary cap. It just won't happen.
Mm,
Um, you need a salary cap to curtail the spending of teams like the Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, Philly,
mm,
Boston, all those the big market teams. Um, I would also restrict being able to have an entire team like the Dodgers on the Bobby Bonilla deal, getting
mm,
paid 21.54 and breaking up all their salaries to be able to pay Shohei Ohtani $750 million or whatever the fuck he's getting paid.
mm,
Um, because teams like Cleveland, Pittsburgh, to an extent Detroit, you're not able to do that.
mm,
So automatically you have an unfair advantage. Um, those are two things I would do to kind of limit the excessive spending of the top market teams. But small market teams aren't blameless in this either.
mm.
And you have teams like the A's, the Rays, the Guardians, the Pirates specifically,
And the
that just
Rays.
refuse to pay anybody more than a Happy Meal and a coupon uh, for ice cream or some bullshit. Um,
And that was kind of like my suggestion too to Nick, because my
yeah,
suggestion,
you need a cap at the top and you need a floor at the bottom.
that was my
And
suggestion, because I knew for a fact that the cab would not be a thing. So my
right,
suggestion was having like a floor, like let's say, and Nick and I came to the agreement of maybe at minimum like 125 to 150 million that you had to spend at least.
yeah. But I think another thing that really screws the small market teams over is the TV deals.
Hmm.
Um, you have the Guardians making almost nothing on their TV deal. Well, they don't have one because, you know,
Hmm.
good old Diamond Sports Group going bankrupt. Um, they have Guardians TV now. So they're taking a massive hit in revenue from not having a TV deal. And there's other teams like the Twins. Part of the reason why they sold off the way that they did, one, because they're underperforming, but two, it's because they're losing tens of millions of dollars, if not more, a season just from not having the TV revenue that they did. It doesn't make any sense to me why Major League Baseball and the NBA to an extent don't go the route of the NFL
Hmm.
and have your game is broadcasted by the major sports networks on your local TV channels. Look,
Yeah.
I mean, look at the NFL. You know, you're watching the Browns. They're either on, you know, 3, 5, 8, or 19,
Hmm.
and they're broadcasted by either Fox, NBC. Very rarely, if they get a primetime game, will it be ESPN. But the point remains the same. They're still broadcasted by those major networks.
Hmm.
And that is something that every team in the league benefits from equally.
Hmm.
The Cowboys benefit from that TV deal just as much as the Browns do.
Hmm.
It makes no sense to me why Major League Baseball doesn't have something like that. Because that would really benefit the smaller market teams. And
And get rid
I
of
think
blackouts too.
it would get rid of blackouts too. And it would really benefit teams like the Guardians and the Brewers that really want to compete. They really want to win, but they don't have the money to do so. Well, they do have the money to do so, but
They don't have
they
the
do to a
owners.
point. They
Yeah.
do to a point. Like I understand we're a smaller market team. We don't have the money. We can't pay for Shohei Ohtani or Juan Soto, stuff like that. I get that. We're not paying anyone $350 million.
Hmm.
But you have enough money where you can pay guys, you know, a couple guys 10, 15, $20 million.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, you got to make the TV situation significantly better. But then you got to increase the no, you got to put in a cap floor and a cap ceiling. And honestly, I would probably increase the revenue sharing too.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's like it's just insane at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I mean it. Never have I seen a major sport. It just continues to shoot itself in the foot,
Hmm. Yeah, because they're not
and
able to.
then they wonder why their viewership's declining,
Mm.
people losing interest. It's because no one can watch your sport because everything's blacked out,
Hmm.
or you got to pay $100 a year to watch it, or you give away a kidney to go to a game.
Hmm.
They make it so you can't watch their product, and that makes no sense.
Hmm. And that's insane. So I guess that's just the biggest thing that. Plus, I'd actually argue they don't market their players well either. And it's like
Yeah, that's
they
something
have.
that we've talked about before. Like,
Mm.
yes, Major League Baseball doesn't market their players, but their players have to market themselves to an extent too. They can't just
Mm.
rely on Major League Baseball to promote them.
Mm.
Like, look at the NFL and NBA. Do those star players wait for the league to promote them and throw them on all the billboards and all the commercials for their games? No, they're going out and they're finding their own sponsorship deals, or guys are coming, or companies are coming to them for sponsorship deals, and they're putting themselves out there. It just
Mm.
seems like it's a cultural thing with baseball where these guys they're not interested in that. They want to show up to the ballpark, play the game, hang out with their teammates, and go home. They don't
Mm.
care about getting a ton of sponsorship deals. Like Shohei Ohtani and Francisco Lindor have a couple, but
Mm.
other than that, like
And
Mike
it's
Trout, one of the greatest players of this generation, I think I've maybe heard him speak 3 times.
I don't think I've ever heard him speak.
Yeah. Bryce Harper, he's put himself more out there, not really in a ton of sponsorship deals, but for, other off the field stuff and being
Yeah.
pretty outgoing. But
Mm.
they don't,
His
the
antics.
players have to market themselves.
hmm And so, because Bryce Harper's what is Bryce Harper known for? Being the bad kind of the bad boy of baseball almost
Yeah.
to a degree, and he's, as far as I'm concerned, he's done that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'd agree with it. And like in a way, I kind of like Bryce Harper. I kind of like
Mm.
his attitude. But
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Well, when I
I
say
don't know.
bad boy of baseball, I mean it in like a good way. Because when you say that
Yeah, he's the
someone
one that he
else,
doesn't put up with. Yeah, it's not like he's going out and like starting fights and getting in
mm,
in legal trouble. He just doesn't put
hmm
up with anyone's bullshit. He'll
yeah,
come fight you if you piss him off enough, but
hmm
he's not going to instigate it.
yeah. Because I knew once said that, I knew that if someone heard that, the automatic answer would have been Trevor Bauer, like when he was still around.
That's a different topic.
Yeah, that's a whole different topic.
One that the we can leave to I don't know, Law and Order Sports if we start that up.
A What Happened To episode.
Yeah, maybe that's one we can avoid.
Yeah. Anyways, so speaking of baseball stadiums that we mentioned earlier, both you as well as myself went to 3 new stadiums. You went to 2 yourself. I went to one.
Hmm.
I went to
Hmm.
Seattle, and you went to both Chicago's, right?
Hell yeah, buddy.
So before I go to Seattle, how were the 2 Chicago stadiums for you?
Pretty cool, man. So the
Hmm.
first one that we went to, my friend and I went to Guaranteed Rate Field or whatever it's called now. Or
Yeah,
I think it's just Guaranteed Rate. Yeah, I think it's
stadium
Guaranteed
or
Rate
something.
Field or if they have a new name for it every year.
hmm
Um,
Because what was
Going
it
into that
like
stadium,
growing up? What was it for us growing
it
up?
was
I'm drawing a blank right at the moment.
US Cellular Field.
It's US Cellular. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Um, Going into that stadium, all I have heard for years is how it is one of the worst in baseball. And I kind of let that affect my opinion of going into the stadium. I was really not excited to go into the ballpark at all. Um, but man, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's actually it's a nice ballpark.
Mm,
It's a ballpark for someone that actually wants to go watch the game, doesn't care about all the luxury BS. You want to get in, maybe grab a souvenir, like I grabbed a baseball. You want to get a couple hot dogs and a couple things to drink, and you want to just sit, watch the game, and be around normal people.
mm,
You have a couple amenities that are pretty nice. The ballpark itself was clean. It was pretty well kept. I like the architecture of the stadium.
mm,
Um, Overall, man, I really enjoyed it.
mm.
It's not going to be one of the best ballparks that I've ever been to, but it's just a good no frills, come watch a baseball game ballpark.
Okay.
Um, I actually enjoyed it more than Wrigley. Um,
All right.
Wrigley, I appreciated the history.
Mm,
You just being around the stadium, like you could feel like it's just different there. Like the atmosphere around the ballpark in the ballpark is different. Like just being in the stadium, like you could tell, like it's a special place. I'm
mm.
not gonna write it off. I hate the Cubs. Their stadium is, it's where you go for like a baseball pilgrimage. Like them and
Yeah.
Fenway, like you go there and it's just a different experience.
Yeah, them, Fenway, and old Stadium at
Right.
one point.
Um, but man, if there was like maybe 15,000 less people at the game that I went to,
Yeah.
I probably would have enjoyed it more. But you have a 110-year-old ballpark,
Mm,
so the concourses are narrow,
mm,
but the stadium still holds like 35, almost 40,000 people.
dang.
And they were all packed in the main concourse, man. Like we were packed in there like sardines. Like we could not, I couldn't move.
Mm,
Like there was just a traffic jam of people just stopped. And I'm like, why are we doing this?
mm.
Um,
Why is this a thing?
yeah. So me not being too much of a people person, I didn't really enjoy that.
Mm,
Um, Getting around the ballpark was kind of difficult to me. We were up in the upper deck,
mm.
and there's just random staircases going every which way. And I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going. I'd give me to the top deck and I'll figure it out. But I had to get to the top deck first.
Mm,
Um, but overall, like once we found our seats, then it was just a normal ball game. But
mm.
I would say that I think I enjoyed my experience at uh, Guaranteed Rate Field uh, quite a bit better.
Okay, awesome. Actually, I know I mentioned that I went to one stadium. I've actually been to two this year.
You lied to us.
Yes. Uh, so first I actually went to Comerica Park up in Detroit, and second I just got back from not too long ago was uh, T-Mobile Park in Seattle, also known as Safeco to some, especially older people who were at least I'd say 25 to 30.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Dave, do you just classify us as older people? I just turned 30 last month.
And
Chill out.
I forgot to send you your
Chill,
walker and tennis balls.
chill, chill out. We are not older people yet.
Uh, so
Oh boy.
anyway, so for Comerica, it that stadium was gorgeous. You had I just love the structure of it because it brought back the kind of like the older stadium feel, I guess you could say, in its architecture. And so it was beautiful in that sense, as well as it had some like bizarre things that you wouldn't expect necessarily at like a ballpark. Like it's
Like
literally got
what?
like a freaking Ferris wheel. It's a small
Oh,
one,
that's cool.
but it's a
That's cool.
small one, don't get me wrong. And then uh and a merry-go like is it a merry-go-round? The one with the poles and like different animals that you could ride and it goes up and down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And because I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. Um, so it's got that. The food was fantastic. Like my parents and we went to this like smoked barbecue place that they had there.
Okay. Okay.
Excellent barbecue pulled pork sandwich. My parents had like a really good like barbecue pulled like mac and cheese while there. Um, and then Seattle, another really gorgeous stadium as well. Um, that I went to. I actually got to walk around the stadium as well. In both instances, we were both up in the 300 area, kind of like relatively behind home plate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, you know what? Might as well walk around for a little bit because there was a certain section that they had like a standing room only over in left field that you can watch the game from. So I went over there and watched the game for like an inning or two and then went back. And I was telling Dom earlier, they had the air show going on. They had their Seattle's air show going on. So we had like planes flying around the stadium, making turns, and just was really cool having both the air show and the game going on.
Yeah. That must have been really cool.
Hmm.
I,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you could hear like the jet engines going by, and just an excellent time. So, yeah.
So of the two ballparks, which one did you like better?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd probably say T-Mobile only because it has the roof. Because when we went to Detroit Stadium, it didn't have a roof and it was not only rainy, but it was also cold because we went
Gotcha.
rain.
Yeah, because you went early in the season, right?
hmm And this was when uh the Guardians had just played Minnesota, and so a couple of those games had gotten like postponed because of rain, and so it was making
Yep.
its way from Minnesota over to Detroit, like that storm system. So we were kind of getting the early parts of that, or maybe, yeah, maybe the ending parts, I should say, of that storm. But either way, it was raining and it was fairly cold. Like, do you remember when you and I went to a game together? You were
Yeah, it
out.
was Star Wars night.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it'll be 40. I don't need to wear a coat.
Yeah. And we had you had your hands inside the hat.
Yeah, yeah, it was my hand warmer.
Uh, anyways, got anything else to add to the show?
Uh, no, no.
All right. Well,
No, Gavin Williams was 1 out away from a no-hitter today.
yeah, I heard about that. He went 8 2/3 inning, got one. He was one out, which honestly, I'm very happy to see that the starting pitchers are now getting more time. Because that was the one major thing that I had an issue with Stephen Voigt. Because the pitchers were not going
Who?
long.
Who?
What is, I said Voigt.
Who?
How do you pronounce his last name?
Vote.
Oh, okay, Vogt. So that was my major issue with Vogt, that the starting pitchers were not going 6 to 7 innings, and he was wearing out his own bullpen.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
So it was like, I think that's part of the reason why they didn't do too well in the playoffs was because he kind of did it to himself. He wore out his own bullpen. So, anyways, well, this concludes this episode of On Deck, presented by Deep Dive Sports. I want to say thank you, Dom, for coming on today. Another great
Of
episode.
course, man.
And thank you for listening. Have a nice day.